Let's put ChatGPT to the test. Who is the best mortgage lender? It's giving me names, y'all. I don't know that I can feel good about signing off on that now. So AI has been all up in everything lately, and I, for one, am not ready. I am very much team denial. Like, I'm not ready for an AI overlord yet, but whatever. I'm not gonna get into it because they're listening, right? So anyway, I'm a personal finance nerd, and personal finance, as the name suggests, is very personal. And I'm really curious to see how AI would stack up against personal finance questions. So I'm gonna put it to the test. Specifically, I'm gonna ask questions about home buying, because home buying is about as personal as you can get in the personal finance space. So the first question I think I'm gonna ask is, should I buy a house? Because what? Like, no one can answer that for you. You have to decide if you should buy a house. What we could do is give you the financial things to keep in mind if you're considering buying a house, but ultimately the decision on whether or not to buy a house is yours. So let's see if AI gets that. Should I buy a house? Talk to me. Deciding whether to buy a house is a significant financial and lifestyle choice that depends on various factors. While I can't make the decision for you, I can provide some points to consider when making a decision. Financial stability. Assess your financial situation, including your income, savings, and overall financial stability. True. Long-term plans. Consider your long-term plans and how they align with home ownership. Are you planning to stay in the area? Lifestyle and flexibility. Evaluate your lifestyle preferences. Home ownership often provides more stability and the freedom to customize your living space. Renting offers more flexibility to relocate or adjust your living situation. Real estate market. Research the real estate market in your desired location. Costs versus renting. Compare the cost of renting in your area versus buying. I'm not mad at this answer. It's a pretty good answer, actually. I think that I would give it maybe an A- if I was grading it. I am gonna grade it. Yes, A-, B+, A-, somewhere in there. Because it hit a lot of the points that I would suggest a person considering home buying consider. The financial stability, yes. Buying a home obviously comes with some significant upfront costs, but costs along the way. I mean, if you're thinking upfront costs, you wanna have that 3 to 10%-ish for your down payment. That's on the purchase price. You want to have the 2 to 6% of the loan amount for your closing costs. Like, those are things that you need just up front. But you also want to have some cash still in the bank. You don't want to put everything into buying a home. And a lot of lenders won't let you just wipe out all your bank accounts either. They want to make sure they're going to get paid. And then you want to, like, how are you going to pay for moving? The last time I moved, it was like $5,000 and I just moved across town. So, and I have a small apartment. If you're considering filling up a big old house, you're gonna need some movers. And then, you wanna consider some of the lifestyle things too. One of the things that it didn't really touch on is like your own personal life. Like, do you have some things in the works that you might need to do first? Like, are you planning to go back to school? Like, that could have a big financial impact on your life if you're considering something like that. Starting a business would require a lot of funds. Are you planning to travel the world for the next year, 2, whatever? Those are things to think about that I would have liked to see our little ChatGPT friend suggest, but whatever. All right, what should be the first step when buying a house? This is super easy. You need to make sure that you're ready. Make sure that you're emotionally ready before you even think about being financially ready, I think. Let's see, what should be the first step when buying, I can spell, a house. The first step when buying a house is typically to assess your financial situation and establish a budget. Here are some key steps to consider as you begin the home buying process. Determine your budget, evaluate your finances. Okay, well, first of all, I asked for just the first step, and it has given me the whole kit and caboodle, which I did not want. Secondly, the first step when buying a house, it mentions the financial situation, which, yes, is an important step, obviously, but the first step is to decide if you are ready because the whole home buying process too is just not for the faint of heart. You're gonna put in offers, they might not get accepted, you might have to put in several different offers before you find a home. It can be emotionally draining, physically draining, schlepping across town, financially draining if you do go into escrow and pay for those inspections and then find a bunch of stuff in the inspections that makes you back out and then you've just lost $1,000. So there's a lot to think about being ready for before you even get to the money part. So sorry, little friend, but I'm not giving you an A this time. I'm saying maybe like a C. This is a lot of information. So I guess it gets a little credit for giving me too much as opposed to too little. All right. So I think that once you've decided that you're ready to buy a house and you're emotionally ready and you're financially ready, you think about how much should you spend on a house. And that is going to be a very personal decision. How much should I spend on a house? Let's see if it mentions the 28-36 rule. I'm very curious about that. The amount you should spend on a house depends on several factors, including your financial situation, long-term goals, and personal preferences. This is true. Here are a few considerations to help you determine an appropriate budget for buying a house. Evaluate your financial readiness. Review your income, savings, and expenses to assess how much you can afford to allocate towards housing expenses. As a general rule, your housing costs should ideally not exceed 30% of your monthly income. Consider your future plans. Think about your long-term goals. You know, I'm not as impressed with this answer. So let's take it point by point, right? Evaluate your financial readiness. It says that as a general rule, your housing costs should ideally not exceed 30% of your monthly income. I would say alternate. I'm not saying better, I'm not saying worse, I'm saying an alternate approach or rule of thumb when you're considering budgeting for home buying would be the 28-36 rule. And this just means that 28% of your gross income that you're bringing in monthly, your housing costs should not exceed 28%. So this would be not just your mortgage, but your property taxes and other home ownership costs. And then the rest of your debts should not exceed 36%. So if you have student loans or credit cards, whatever other debts that you owe should not exceed 36%. So I'm not super blown away by this vague 30% amount. Down payment. Determine how much you can afford to put towards a down payment. A larger down payment typically leads to a lower mortgage amount. True. Aim for a down payment of at least 20% to avoid private mortgage insurance and secure more favorable terms. That's not untrue. 20% would prevent you from having to pay the PMI. And obviously, the more you put down, the less that you are going to have to pay monthly. But 20% is a very lofty amount. Not everybody can afford 20%. I think the more realistically, people are landing somewhere between like a 3 and a 10% for down payment. But I don't deny that putting down a larger down payment, if you can afford to without interfering with those numbers we mentioned earlier and overextending yourself, like if you can put down more, yes. All right. I am going to give this answer like a C because I don't love this whole 30%, 20% amounts that they're giving, which is not like untrue, but it makes it seem a little scarier and less attainable, which I don't like. Let's ask one more question and then we'll just wrap it up. So we've decided how much to spend. Ooh, let's ask who is the best mortgage lender, because what? Does it have preferences? Like, is it gonna recommend someone to us? I'm curious about that. Does it have loyalties anywhere? Who is the best mortgage lender? Who's the best mortgage lender? Talk to me. Determining the best mortgage lender can be subjective and depends on various factors, including your specific needs, financial situation, and preferences. It's like he's in my mind. Several reputable mortgage lenders consistently receive positive reviews and rankings, including, it's giving me names, y'all. Quicken Loans, Rocket Mortgage, Wells Fargo, Chase Bank. Wow, I was not super expecting it to give me like actual like names of banks. Well, yes, sorry, my mind is blown, so I need a beat. But yes, you would want to compare a few different ones. These are definitely some big names, but there are smaller names that could be right for you. And when you're considering your own personal financial situation, like I mentioned, your credit score, your debt to income ratio, you might decide that there's a specific type of mortgage that makes the most sense for you. Like, if you've had credit challenges in the past, it might be right for you to go with like an FHA that is a little bit more flexible with credit than some of the more conventional loans. And the VA loan could be great if you have served in the military and you might not have to put any money down if you can go that route. So how would I grade this? I would, but can I get on board with like these top banks in the country being its recommendations. I don't know that I can feel good about signing off on that. No, I don't love it. I'm gonna say D. I would have rather it said, go to a mortgage comparison site. It didn't have to recommend NerdWallet. I'm not saying that, but there are plenty of sites where you can compare different lenders for yourself. I don't know that I love that it gave me these top banks. That's just me, but it's my game, so I get to decide the rules. Overall, I'm giving ChatGPT's knowledge of the home buying process and personal finance space, I'm going to give it a C because it did give me some good Google-esque answers, but it didn't give me the juicy nitty-gritty that I would really need if I was looking into buying a home. Like I mentioned before, home buying is obviously super duper personal, but in order to make those personal decisions, you need informed information, and it just stayed a little too vague for my desires. So sorry, bud, but I don't think that you are quite ready to be a home buying financial advisor. So there we go. C for ChatGPT. A for me because it's my game and I'm doing the scoring and I give myself an A. So there. All right, guys, I will see you next time. Bye. So like I mentioned before, if you really are considering home buying, I don't necessarily recommend that ChatGPT be where you do your research. I really recommend NerdWallet.com. We have a ton of articles. We have a whole entire hub dedicated to the home buying process, NerdWallet.com. See you there.